All right, hello physical science students, Miss Sheeler here. This video, we're going to be walking through the scientific method. So this week and next week, the big thing that we're going to be focusing on is the Great Airplane Project, which basically just uses the scientific method to find out which paper airplane is the best. Okay, so most of you have probably learned about or at least heard about the scientific method before, but we're just going to quickly walk through it so we can use it to the best of our ability through this project. So to follow along with this video, you can either take notes on your own piece of paper, or I provided a notes guide on Schoology. The notes guide just has most of the words from the slides already on it, and you can just fill in some of the blanks. But either one is completely fine. Just make sure you're either taking notes on your own piece of paper, or you can use a notes guide if you have access to a computer. All right, so what is the scientific method? The scientific method is just a systematic process that scientists use to help them conduct research, okay? This method is just kind of lays out the steps of research to help make sure a scientist can hopefully get some conclusions or some findings from their research, okay? We're going to be using the scientific method to determine what makes a good paper airplane, okay? So the scientific method, the steps can kind of vary a little bit depending how you learn it or where you find it, but we're going to follow these 6 basic steps. Okay, so the first step, you are going to ask yourself a question. So most research comes from a general topic. Ours is paper airplanes, but you want to ask yourself a more specific question to help guide yourself in your research. Then you do research on the topic, okay, to help kind of give you some background knowledge and stuff like that. From that research, you form a hypothesis, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then you'll do testing to get some data to support or not support your hypothesis. From that data, you'll draw conclusions. And then a big part, which a lot of people forget, is you want to share your findings, okay? You don't want to just do all this research and keep it to yourself. You want to share it so others can also learn about the topic you did, okay? So now we're just going to dive in a little bit more. So the first step of asking a question, okay? You're going to ask a question about the thing you want to know, the general topic you want to know about. Ours is paper airplanes, okay? With this, you want to make sure you ask a really good question. By that, I mean you want to ask a really specific question so not only yourself, but others know the exact thing that you are researching. Okay, so for us, it's not a great question just to ask, what makes a good paper airplane? It's not super specific. Do you mean which one is the longest? Which one looks the best? Which one has the most folds? Which one looks the coolest? None of those you can really collect data from. They're all more opinion-based, okay? We want to make sure we can gather some data and draw some conclusions. So the question, and a better question, is which airplane will fly the farthest and why? We can gather data, we can try to draw conclusions from it and figure out why, okay? So a very specific question. From there, you want to make sure you do research. This is a super important step, okay? Before you even start gathering data, you can look into the question you're asking. You can learn from people who have maybe researched it before. You can find guidance to how to test things and all that sort of stuff. So you need to make sure you take the time to learn about that topic and your question before you even start conducting experiments. Okay? For our project, we're going to have you research paper airplane designs. Okay? To do this, you're doing this to help you pick the 3 designs you think will fly the farthest, okay? I provided a website for you, a little screenshot here you'll see on Schoology, of some basic designs of paper airplanes. We also made a resource slides from the same website, okay? Show you how to build them, stuff like that, okay? From there, you're going to form a hypothesis. Okay, so like I said, our question was which paper airplane will fly the farthest. Okay, so we're going to kind of use that frame to build our hypothesis. So after you find the 3 designs you want to build, you're going to look at those 3 and kind of fill in these blanks. Which design you'll think will fly the farthest and why. Okay, so I might say that I think the dart design, which is just one of the names from the website, that I think the dart design will fly the farthest because it has really small and skinny wings. That might be my reasoning, okay? Going along with that, we want you to look at the other end of things. So which paper airplane will fly the least? With that, I might fill it in and say the UFO design will fly the least far because it has really wide and bulky wings. Okay, so just want you to use kind of those descriptors to conclude or prove why you think your paper airplane will fly far or not far at all. So after that, we're actually going to test it. So you will use, find somewhere in your house or outside, maybe a hallway or your bedroom or the kitchen or outside in the grass to test your paper airplanes. So you will throw each paper airplane design 3 times and measure how far it flew. So obviously, if we were in the classroom, I would have meter sticks for you to use, but since you're at home, you might not have one. Okay, so you're just going to find some sort of measuring device in your house, okay? It can be a ruler, a meter stick, a tape measure. If you don't have one of those devices, you can count your number of footsteps. You can use your Chromebook. How many Chromebooks did it travel? Okay, it doesn't matter what you use. It's really important that you use the same measurement in all your trials, okay? Yeah. So after we collect our data, we're going to analyze it and draw some conclusions from it. Okay, so that means we're going to look at the data and try to determine what it means. Okay, so for us, you threw each paper airplane 3 times, so you have 3 distances for each paper airplane. We want you to find the average distance for each one. So you're going to take those 3 trials and average it to find an average distance. With those, we can compare the averages, and you can see which plane flew the farthest and which one didn't, and then determine why. So that might be that your hypothesis was correct, and you can use the same reasoning, or maybe your hypothesis was wrong, so then you can explain why. Okay, and from there, we want you to share your findings, right? We don't just want to keep all that knowledge to ourselves. We want others to learn about it too. So what we're going to do, since we can't be in the classroom and actually see each other do it, you're going to upload a picture, whether that be your own picture or the picture from the website, of the plane that flew the farthest for you, okay? And then you can go through and look at everyone's pictures, see if there's any similarities, or see what other designs everyone else did, but so we can still share our findings and see how everyone else did, okay? So you'll see everything laid out on Schoology for all of these steps to do the project, and post any of your questions on the questions discussion board on Schoology.